All right, let's dive into one of the biggest rivalries in software development, GitLab versus GitHub. Now, we're not here to pick a winner. What we're going to do is break down the core arguments GitLab makes against its biggest competitor, all based on their own competitive material. Ready? Let's get into it.
So GitLab kicks off its entire case with this one simple question. Just think about that for a second. A dozen different tools, a dozen different subscriptions, a dozen different things your team has to learn and maintain. Is that really working? This is the exact pain point they're aiming for.
And that question leads us directly to their first major argument, what they call the one platform advantage. The whole idea here is to solve a problem they've named toolchain sprawl.
So what exactly is toolchain sprawl? Well, they define it as the absolute chaos that happens when you're trying to stitch together a patchwork of separate tools for every single step of the development process. This one definition right here is the foundation for pretty much every argument that follows.
And here's how they frame the choice for you. On one side, you've got their vision of a single platform, one database, less mental gymnastics for your developers. On the other side is their picture of the alternative, this messy, tangled web of custom integrations that, they argue, is just more expensive, a nightmare to maintain, and ultimately a much riskier way to ship software.
To make this all feel real, the source uses this quote from Carfax. It really puts a voice to the problem, right? You can feel the frustration of getting bogged down in just managing the tools instead of what they're supposed to be doing, building new features. It's all about shifting focus from tool maintenance to creating actual value.
Okay, moving on to the next big battleground, AI. GitLab's argument here isn't just about having AI, but about where you use it. They make the case that the real magic isn't just in writing the code itself, but in everything that happens before and after.
25%. GitLab puts this single number right at the heart of their entire AI strategy. So, what on earth could this mean? There it is. According to their own research, developers spend only a quarter of their time actually writing brand new code. The implication here is huge. If your AI tools only focus on generating code, they're completely missing 75% of the problem. The real opportunity, they argue, is to apply AI to, well, everything else. Now, to win over those big, cautious enterprise customers, they lay out these 3 AI principles. First, privacy. They swear they won't train their models on your proprietary code. Second, flexibility. They say they're not locked into just one AI model. And third, transparency. They promise to tell you exactly which models are powering their features. These aren't just bullet points, they're direct answers to the biggest fears that large companies have about adopting AI.
And speaking of those enterprise fears, here's another number that connects directly to those principles we just saw, 95%.
So this number is the why behind their whole privacy-first promise. They're drawing a straight line from a massive market demand, protecting intellectual property, directly to their strategy. They're essentially saying, we hear your concerns, and we're building our AI specifically to solve them.
Okay, let's pivot to our third big theme, security and compliance. The argument here is that security shouldn't be some extra step you do at the end. Instead, it should be woven directly into the fabric of the platform from the very beginning.
And this is where the argument gets really direct. This table, which is pulled from their document, is a straight-up head-to-head comparison. They're claiming that crucial security capabilities like DAST, container scanning, API security are built right into GitLab but are missing from GitHub. I mean, that's a pretty bold claim to make.
And it's not just about the scanning tools. The argument goes deeper, into governance. The document points to features that let security teams enforce rules across the board, like, for example, preventing a developer from just turning off a security scan. They claim this is a critical control that their competitor just doesn't have.
And to back all this up, they pull out a really impressive quote from Lockheed Martin, citing an 80 times faster pipeline build. That's a staggering number. It's designed to show that integrating compliance and security doesn't have to slow you down. In fact, they argue, it can actually make you dramatically faster. This focus on security and governance flows right into their next major point, that the whole platform is specifically built to handle enterprise-level scale and complexity.
You can think of this as their enterprise checklist. You need agile planning, but don't want to use Jira? They say it's built right in. You need deep analytics into your entire workflow? They call it value stream management. You need the flexibility to run it on your own servers instead of in the cloud? They say they offer that choice. This is their case for being the complete all-in-one enterprise solution.
And here's another heavy hitter to prove their point, this time from NVIDIA. This quote speaks directly to those big scalability challenges, managing servers all over the world and avoiding bottlenecks. It's used to argue that the platform solves these exact kinds of headaches that global teams run into.
All right, on to our final section. So far, we've talked about features, benefits, and philosophies. But the source document saves its biggest punch for last by translating all of that into the one language every single business understands: money.
I mean, this is the ultimate question, isn't it? After all the technical talk and feature comparisons, what does any of this actually mean for a company's bottom line? This is where the document builds to its big financial climax.
427%. This is the knockout number. This is the mic drop in their entire argument, and it's presented for maximum impact. It's just a massive claim.
So where in the world does a number like that come from? The source attributes it to a total economic impact study conducted by Forrester, a study that GitLab commissioned. They claim this study found a 427% return on investment for customers, with the whole thing paying for itself in less than 6 months.
And so, this is their closing statement. They tie everything we've talked about together, the messy tool chains, the AI strategy, the built-in security, to make one final cohesive point. A single platform means better software delivered faster and more securely for a lot less money.
Which leaves us with this final lingering question. GitLab makes a really powerful case for the all-in-one platform. But is it a true simplification of how we work, or is it just putting all your eggs in one basket, a consolidation of risk? The answer to that? Well, it probably depends on who you ask. Thanks for walking through this breakdown with me.